have the clicky thing.
Oh, okay.
I have the clicker.
Push the button, Frank.
I'm not Frank.
You're not
You
Frank.
don't have the button either.
Frankly, that doesn't matter then. No.
Frankly.
Frank Lee, yeah, that's right. He was our grocer for many years.
You found it?
Yeah.
Frankly.
13. The heron. No, we went over the heron.
We're on
Yeah.
15 and 16. We have gotten through the door.
Yeah. Silent and attentive.
Okay.
Aha.
Sounds like a ninja.
Okay, that works. You guys good?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Right.
hi, I'm Larry Threadgill. We've already been recording, by the way.
Thank you.
The chieftain or president of Ríðar Wyrd. Today we are happy to have you here for our Havamal study group. We're going to be doing 3 stanzas from the Havamal study from the Hunin and Moonin publishing company. Our friends they're great peoples. And
Nelson Young, the elder or vice president of the Kindred, and I'll be using the James Chisholm translation from 2009.
And Don McFarland, the Hearthman, and I'm here with the same book that our president does, because I'm like that.
All right. We're going over stanza 15 today.
Okay. So I'll start with Bray, since I know you like them. Okay. Silent and thoughtful and bold in strife, the prince's brain should be. Joyous and generous, let each man show him until he shall suffer death.
That's Bairn.
Bear.
Bairn.
Oh, yeah, bear.
Right, there you go.
Thank you.
No problem. Taciturn and prudent, and in war daring should a king's children be. Joyous and liberal every one should be until the hour of his death.
Silent and attentive and battle bold should a chieftain's son be. A man should be glad and happy until defeated by death.
Okay. Did you want to do bellows?
Oh, okay.
I know you like bellows.
I do. The son of a king shall be silent and wise, and bold in battle as well. Bravely and gladly a man shall go till the day of his death is come.
Okay. So what do you guys think of this?
Well, it's interesting. In some of them, they mention children, and others they don't. Why is that?
The difference probably has a lot to do with the original, which I would butcher to death right now. The translation from the original Old Icelandic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of the terminology between different types of men, if they had an extra word or a letter in there, it could be different from translator to translator to translator.
Okay.
Sure.
So it could be looked at as a prince, as what did yours have?
Chieftain's son.
A chieftain's son, which
Oh,
would be
okay.
right.
Yeah.
A king's children, which are also still princes.
Right.
And the other one is the son of a king. So the only difference would be Thorpe.
Sure.
Well, no.
Actually,
Thorpe
they all
and
mention
Bran.
children, just in different ways.
Right.
Took me a minute to catch up with that.
So, if we begin with chieftain, so the only difference really between a chieftain, a jarl, and a king is really just importance. But they're all 3 noblemen.
Right.
So if we go with the fact that probably, mind you, the word, whoever son it was a nobleman's son. And you can, figure out what the vernacular would be, but
Right. That
either
the
way, it's
fact
noble.
that in some points, chieftain would be the king, king would be the chieftain,
Sure.
and vice versa. So it depends on what your point of view is on with the rest of it. You
Right.
have to look at the whole thing in a whole to figure out which one it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically, to me, it's kind of yes.
Also, depending on what era it was.
Yes.
Because
which era?
chieftain is more of an original context, whereas king is something that after the Anglo-Saxons came in,
Sure.
Yeah, the
No, that's a very
concept of
good point.
queenship was different. Yeah.
Older Futhark or elder Futhark versus younger Futhark.
Right. Right. But also, you know, normally your king had most of the farmland, which is why they agreed that he was king.
Right.
He fed more people.
Mm-hmm.
So what she said was, if you can't hear over here, in internet land. Hi, internet land. I'm in a good mood today. Was that it would also depend on when it was written and when it was translated, because king, chief, everything, it falls into place for timeline. Chieftain maybe the original, because king, the concept of a king wasn't introduced until they went to England and to other lands and started taking them over and went, wait, that one guy rules over all these other places.
Right. Right. But it was also their understanding of feudalism, but that's a whole
Right.
other conversation.
Something interesting is occurring to me as I read these things. The other stanzas usually talk about someone regarding themselves, you know, rules for their own conduct. Did you notice how all three of these seem to be like the king is telling his son to be a good guy until the son dies? So it's almost like the king kind of doesn't want to have him around. You know, he's not looking for somebody to challenge his authority, so he has to go out and die in battle. I don't know, it just seems a little bitter.
Well, to me, it can also mean that every man, whether they be young or old, every person should be bold at heart, should be able to be forthright and stand up for themselves. Don't be afraid that someone else is going to have a problem with what it is you're doing, because you should always be moving forward into the challenge instead of being a coward and being
Right, I can see that.
Yeah.
But for me, even throughout all four different versions, I can see, even if it was a man speaking to his child, him going, okay, look, go out, be bold, be yourself, live your life the way that you see fit, but joyous and liberal, as it said, bravely,
glad and happy.
right, glad and happy,
Sure.
and to spread that wherever you're out, because you don't know when you're going to die.
Right.
And that's what it's saying, is live your life, live a full life.
Right. Because he's not actually saying because you can't be king.
No.
You could be bold and happy and prudent and all that stuff after he was king as well as beforehand. So, okay, thank you. I feel better.
Right. So it's not that bad. It's him saying, okay, in war, in strife, be thoughtful, be bold. But in your everyday life, be happy, be joyful, find the joy. Yes.
Also speaking to laziness, just because you're the king's son does not exclude you from work, from self-reliance,
Right.
from industriousness.
For protecting your own.
So what she said, I don't know if the microphone's picking you up or not, is that was a lot to take in at once.
It was.
It also bodes onto industrialness and self-reliance.
Laziness
and
speaks out against laziness.
Speaks out against laziness also, because
Even
if you're
the
going,
prince.
even the prince has to go forth and be bold in his endeavors, not sit back. He has to think, turn and prudent during war.
Sure.
So actually, these all would make one great stanza if we could squish them all together into one, but it's not written that way.
Well, but there's one thing in particular. I think that this one, it says be silent and attentive, and that kind of, and it's saying a chieftain's son. So I think he's talking to like the younger man of lesser experience.
Yes.
You know, it might be a good time for you to speak less and listen more.
True.
You know, be battle bold and don't be afraid to be glad and happy and speak your mind, but understand that you might not be as experienced as those around you.
Right.
So, you know.
Sometimes it's good to sit down, keep your mouth shut, and do what you're supposed to, and listen.
Or take it
Silent
in.
and thoughtful, yes.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's just being taught to know how to balance everything within himself, because he has to learn how to rule He has to know how to be able to please his people and take care of them and know how to deal with typical situations. And he have to know how to also be able to fight for his people as well. So it sounds to me like he's teaching him how to become more of a balanced person and being when it comes to being able to take over from his father's point of view or standpoint of view.
So there's no way I'm going to be able to say all of that in verbatim. So basically what she said is it sounds a lot like a father or a king passing on to his prince, or a father talking to his son, telling them to find that balance in life. Yeah, and that's beautifully made. That's a great point. There's a lot more in this little stanza than I had thought. And she went on for quite a few things, and to be honest, I
about how to be a good leader and take advice when necessary. That you may not know everything, but you do have your advisors in place and your people who are more experienced with you in certain areas. So being a leader means sometimes being silent and being attentive.
Right.
And knowing when to go with another man's point of view, as that might be the right course.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well done.
That's a whole lot in one stanza.
So how do we modernize this?
Oh, good question. Stop and think before you do things, but don't be afraid to do them. Go out, live your life, do what needs to be done, but enjoy the day, because it could be your last.
Take time for yourself.
Yeah. It's... Yeah.
Okay.
Get your head out of your electronics and realize that you are not the sole occupant of the universe.
Ooh, good point. Take your head out of your electronics for 5 minutes and decide you're not the middle of the universe.
Turn off Facebook.
Right.
No, but not YouTube.
So, actually, that's a good point. So, how many people have gone to a concert and, okay, this is completely off of it, gone to a concert or to anything, and they watched the entire thing through a screen?
I've seen two people do that, and I was looking around to see if the mob was forming to beat them to a pulp. But
Right.
they didn't, but you know.
So, be bold. Live your life.
Right.
Put the phone down and go out and do the thing instead of reading about it or looking at the video or doing something else.
Yes.
Go out and do it.
Yep.
Right. Or come here and sit with us.
Yeah,
Discuss
I'm
it.
good with that. That's cool.
Experience
Because-
is a great teacher.
We may not know
Yes.
shit, and you do.
Yes, experience is a great teacher, is what she said, if you could not hear it.
Yeah.
Which is always the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge applied, whereas knowledge is just knowledge for the sake of knowing things.
And sometimes wisdom is finding out that that just really didn't work and it was a dumb idea. Okay.
Okay.
I
think we're good.
I think that sums up pretty much everything. So really.
Okay. Well, thank you from Ríðar Wyrd. Please make comments. We want to know what you think. We really do. And we will put the Chris Holmes version, the link to it, on our videos.
Chris Holmes. Chris Chisholm.
Chris
Yeah,
Chisholm.
uh,
not Chris
James
James
Chisholm.
Chisholm.
James
Somebody
Chisholm.
to-
We will put the link below. Just click on
Holmes.
the thing,
Yeah, that-
read the letters, it'll all be there.
And as soon as I remove my head from my... Never mind. Thanks. Good night. Bye.